What is going on, everybody? You are back on another edition of the Coach's Corner. I'm Justin Dueppengiesser, and I am joined, as always, by my guy, Caleb James. Caleb, what is up, brother?
Just another week in the life of Chiefs Kingdom. Thought we were going to go a whole offseason without something interesting happening. We were wrong. The interesting illegal offseason activity, law enforcement involved activity already happened this offseason, and now we're just going to talk about it a little bit. But I think the big news that everyone has been talking about across the NFL and across Chiefs Kingdom is that Frank Clark got arrested on a weapons charge in Los Angeles County here just a couple of days ago.
Yes, that he did. So before we get too far into that, make sure if you're watching this on YouTube, you're smashing the like button, you're subscribing to the channel. We've already got a bunch of shows up. We have the O-line breakdown, we have the Cornell Powell breakdown. We had another show where we had a guest, CJ Jones, on, talked to him. That was a good show, but you can find all those on the Coach's Corner YouTube page, so make sure you're checking that out. But yeah, Mr. Frank Clark. So he gets pulled over in March and gets a gun charge, and then just recently gets pulled over again, and they find an Uzi in his car, so he gets another gun charge. I don't know. Obviously, the big thing is you got to wait on all the details, right? I mean, first and foremost, you don't know what's going to happen. I know a lot of people are jumping to a lot of conclusions where it's they got to release him, they got to cut him, they got to do this, they got to do that. Um, my thing is let's wait and see about all the details. That's my biggest point of this whole thing, I think.
Yeah, his lawyers get paid too, so we'll see how this one goes. Um, it just seems kind of like a boneheaded decision to make, especially considering where he was. It's not like he got pulled over and arrested in Sugar Creek, Missouri, or somewhere like that. He got pulled over in Los Angeles County, California, one of the strictest jurisdictions for gun ownership in all of America. And honestly, him getting arrested twice in 2 months, it honestly sounds like something like out of Pulp Fiction or something like that. He's running around looking for that briefcase and all that stuff. But yeah, it's just not a great situation. I think a lot of it's being overblown. You see guys get arrested a lot for stuff like this. The big thing I think that's involved in this is what's the context behind it? Because, I mean, if he's just running around with a gun, licensed or not, and he's not hurting anyone, that's not really as big a deal as if he would have had the intent to do something like that. Now, we don't know anything about that. I'm sure that's probably what all the police are looking into and looking why was he arrested twice in 3 months? Why didn't we hear about this in March the first time? I don't know. Very interesting, but we'll have to wait and see how this unfolds. It probably will take us to training camp with how this one goes.
Yeah, I think that's the interesting. I was thinking too is like, why is this the first time we're hearing about the arrest in March? Maybe because it was just nothing. I don't, again, I don't know. We just got to wait, see what the details are, and once the details come out and the law kind of takes care of itself, I think we'll know more. Because I think that that's what the NFL is going to do, right? Their stance is usually let's let the law play out, and then we can make our decision from there. So, whether he gets suspended or whatever happens, it is what it is. And the thing that's kind of frustrating about the whole situation is the Chiefs now have, and I've seen it tweeted out by multiple people and multiple um, people that cover teams for different newspapers and stuff, saying that basically the Chiefs are like the worst criminal team in the NFL, which is a terrible reputation to get. And obviously, I think part of it's not true, but I mean they have had some issues in the past years, and that's a crappy reputation to get.
Yeah, I mean, they've had obviously their fair share of issues. Brett Reed incident this winter. I mean, the Bashad Breeland incident last spring, and Tyree. I mean, if it feels actually pretty unfair to throw the Tyree. I see a lot of people throwing the Tyreek Hill thing in here. To me, that seems a little bit unfair because he was never arrested or charged with anything. That was just a big, that was a big shenanigan. Nothing ever came of that because it was all just a bunch of hearsay and a bunch of accusations that turned out to be baseless. But I mean, we see things happen like this in the NFL all the time. I mean, we probably remember back in the day when Dwayne Bowe got arrested for a DUI when he was trying to find Sonic or whatever. It didn't make national waves because the Chiefs weren't very good.
Right.
When you're good, it's going to make a national headline. That's why whenever players for the Patriots mess up outside of Aaron Hernandez, we know Aaron Hernandez killed people. When he killed people in Florida, and Robert Kraft said, I want this guy to be a part of my football team. We all know that. But then you see like some of the other stuff Patriots players did to get in trouble. It's all going to get highlighted in the end because they run like such a great dynasty run. People are going to scrutinize on it more than if the Chiefs were 2-14 last season.
Yeah, 100%. Once you're on top of the mountain, everybody's got a telescope on you trying to find you, what you're doing wrong. So that's just kind of goes with the territory. So unfortunate situation. Hopefully, really nothing comes of it, and it was just a obviously stupid mistake. Why he owns an Uzi and is driving around with one in a duffel bag is beyond me. But again, let's wait till the law kind of runs its course and see what happens there. But I guess the more exciting news and more uplifting news is that the Chiefs announced that they are going back to St. Joe's for training camp, and they announced their dates. And I know a lot of the guys at Arrowhead Live were already talking about finding a day to get up there.
Yeah, man, we're all excited. Last year they didn't have any training camp. There was no real football. I mean, they had their training camp from the facility. Obviously, no fans allowed. This year, it looks like they're letting people come up to St. Joe. Now, it's different from the last few years. You used to be able just to walk into a practice, doesn't cost nothing. Now you have to like get a ticket scheduled ahead of time. You got to pay $5 for some of them. So to me, that's worth it. And also, I'm assuming they probably are expecting massive amounts of people and massive amounts of crowds there for this, since this is like some of the first like live football people have been able to see in such a long time, even if it just is practicing at Missouri Western's campus. I've always been a big proponent of trying to be a guy that goes up to St. Joe at least once a year. I obviously wasn't last year, but pretty much every year for probably the last several, I've been able to make my way up there, whether it be when I was in school on summer break or on a weekend, so I can get a look at the team play. And really, it is practice, but it is kind of fun to go out there and see the position battles because that's what you're looking at more in training camp. You're looking at who's stacking up where in those different position battles across the field. But I'm excited. I'm excited to get our group of guys up there to go up there and check it out and talk some ball with some people.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to have you bring your laptop and Zoom call in so I can watch it. Yeah, obviously, I don't think from New York I'm gonna be able to make it up for training camp, but pumped to get the reports and see what everybody has to say like that. And speaking about position battle, tonight we're gonna be talking about a pretty interesting one and watching some film on that, and that is the linebacker position, which has been kind of a hot button topic, I would say, in Kansas City for the past couple of years. We have Anthony Hitchens who has got a big contract, but that's going to be ending soon. Ben Neiman is probably the most hot button topic, and the fact that he still sees the field and his play has not been very good to reflect why he deserves time on the field. We lost Damian Wilson to free agency. Well, just didn't bring him back, didn't really lose him in the offseason. And then, we had Willie Gay drafted last year who didn't see the field a ton, but the flashes are there. And then we drafted Nick Bolton with our first pick in this year's draft in the second round, pick 58 overall. So should be certainly really one to watch. Obviously, there's some other guys there, but those are kind of like the main names um, in the linebacker mix this year.
Yeah, man. Basically, the clips I got for you guys tonight, I'll share them here real quick. I'm going to show a couple of clips from the Chiefs defense this past season. I'm going to show a little bit of Willie Gay, where I think he's doing really well at, where he can improve on. And then we'll get into Nick Bolton because I think there's some misconceptions going on around Nick Bolton. And I think the two games I've got from you guys from him are first his game versus Alabama and his game versus Florida. Each of those teams he played, multiple first round draft picks played against, multiple, whether it be Kadarius Toney, tight end from Florida,
Kyle Pitts.
Kyle Pitts, yeah, and then obviously that great Alabama offensive line, Najee Harris, Mac Jones, all those guys. Let's go ahead and get on into it, and I'll go ahead and share my screen here.
And I'll just tell you, if you turn on the film and watch a game, if you just only watch one game of Nick Bolton, watch the Alabama game. That dude, he balled out in that game. He played really tough.
Incredibly tough here. And now here's Justin. Can you still hear me and everything?
Yep, you're
Yep.
good.
All right. So as you can see, I titled this "Hitch Bad Play, Bad LB Play." I only included one play of Anthony Hitchens here. I'll go ahead and let it play out. The reason for that being, we all know what he does. We all know what he's good at. He's good at playing in the box. He's good at blowing things up in between the A and C gap, and that's exactly what he does on this goal line play here. You know, he just comes through, does his job. That's what he does well. You know, I don't want to get too much tonight into what he doesn't do well and, you know, his misgivings against the pass, because honestly, at this point in his career, he's not going to make a ton of improvement on it. But he is still a valuable asset to have as a Mike linebacker and as a leader on this team. So I think he should be appreciated for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think again, a lot of it comes down to people get upset because they see the number that it was attached to him, that contract that's attached to him, and that's a tough number to see. A guy who only plays two downs. He's not a pass coverage guy. He's a downhill, physical, run stopping linebacker, and he's obviously had his struggles. I think that's everybody, but everybody has really seen that. But he is what it is. He's a vocal leader in that locker room. He's probably going to have the green dot again this year. I mean, he's eventually, I think, going to be replaced by Nick Bolton. I think that's the plan eventually down the line here. Um, but he kind of is who he is at this point. I don't know what if you should expect really more out of him or get anything more out of him. I think we know he's kind of a finished product. He is who he is going into this season.
You know exactly what we're going to get out of him. That's not necessarily a bad thing, you know. He's been a leader, you know. When he came in here, they were under that 3-4 Bob Sutton defense. He's not built to play in a defense like that. He's much more suited to play in a 4-3. And this past season was his best year in Kansas City. He was acclimated to Spag's system. He looked comfortable. And here, there's no real thinking on this play. You know, he's going, he's reacting, he's blowing up this play before it could even get started. Him and Nick Bolton have a lot of similar traits. We'll get into more of that later. Go ahead and move on to the next clip here. Now we're going to start to see a little bit of ugly.
I don't know if that clip came up on our end. I didn't see it.
Really?
Yeah.
Was I not? I thought I had my screen shared. Let me see real quick.
The screen is shared, but we see the folder and we see
okay.
the Hitch bad play, but the play wasn't up for some reason.
Let me see what I can do about that. Just once.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, we can see the folder and stuff it's in with the clips, but
make sure you guys are. See what I can find. I've got a lot of videos saved in here. Can you guys see this right now?
So the Bolton one just came up. Yep.
Okay. I'm going to click out of that real quick. I'm going to go back to the one that I was just in. Can you see this now?
Yep. Okay. Now it's up.
Oh, so this is the play I was just talking about with Hitchens here. I'm sorry. Can you guys see it now?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay. My bad. I was going through talking that entire play, clicking my mouse around on this one, but this is basically what I was talking about. This is what Hitchens does. So now you guys can see.
Yep.
Right here, middle linebacker, goal line play here. Raiders are going to run, I believe they run a counter play here, or they just run power, and Bolton just goes in and blows it up. Like I said, no thinking involved here. He looked very comfortable in the defense this past season, and he's the finished product. It is what it is. You get what you get with him, and he's a solid contact finisher.
Yeah, and that's a good play there. You get the single back power. He sees the guard pull, and he fills that window. The window shows, and he fills it and makes the tackle. It's a solid play.
Yep.
That's what you're going to get. You're going to get those flashes where he makes those plays, but then you're also going to get the plays where he's completely out of position.
Yeah, we're not going to get too much into that because he is going to be a guy that still depend on to play a lot of reps. I've got a couple of clips here, just some pretty poor linebacker play. This is from the Super Bowl. You see, and I mean, it just looks like there's confusion across the linebackers here about who's supposed to go where and who's supposed to do what based on this play action look from Tampa.
Yeah, and this is something I just wrote an article about what to expect for the 2021 rookies, and I kind of touched on the linebacker play in the Super Bowl where the Bucks clearly had a game plan to come out and to target the linebackers and put them in coverage because I think it was 14 first downs. They came out in heavy personnel, ran play action, and they found either the tight end or the back out of the backfield. Gronkowski was their leading receiver and Leonard Fournette was their second leading receiver. And that goes to show you, they're targeting the linebackers there. Look, Kansas City's in their heavy, base personnel. There's your play action. I don't know.
I'm wondering, this guy or someone comes free up here, and Neiman, he just neglects the running back to go get back into this zone over here, and he's just an easy check down for Brady.
Yeah.
Then we got more of the same, and this isn't really an egregious play, but this play right here that's coming up next, they run like a little zone play action read about as close to an RPO as you're going to get from Tampa. But the thing with this on me is Frank Clark has the contain here, so he's playing up on the line. Whenever Neiman sees this guy starting to come across, shouldn't he realize he has to react to this a lot quicker than he does on this play?
Yeah, he's giving ground.
And, I mean, it's not egregious, but that's 5 or 6, and that's just what they killed the Chiefs with that entire game.
Yep. Yep. Another just, play action look off the split zone. Tight end comes across. He's wide open.
Yeah. It just seemed like it was a little hesitation there that even let that. And this is actually from the regular season game, this play, and this is kind of where I think the Buccaneers got their idea to try to start exposing the Chiefs linebackers in the Super Bowl was because they had started to formulate their plan during the regular season game. And another play action look, just a little leak out, and Damian Wilson is very, very slow and takes a bad angle, and that's an easy touchdown there for Tampa.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that they definitely need to do, and that's get more athletic. But you could see, Wilson, he can't even close, so you can barely get a hand on him, in the flats, which is you just can't have that.
Utter mismatch all the way around.
It's just you can't have that.
And give credit to Tampa. They know where the Chiefs' defense weaknesses were, and they exploited them.
Yeah, they sure did.
So that's pretty much that. That's what I have for that's what I have right now for those older clips. Just those are bad negative clips. We don't want to see those anymore. We don't need to see any more of Ben Neiman and Damian Wilson getting beat because of their lack of athleticism. Now, I'm going to show you guys some Willie Gay clips. We didn't get to see Willie Gay play much in the playoffs because he was hurt. We didn't get to see him play at all, actually. But towards the end of the season, we got to see him sprinkled in. And Justin, can you see the screen right now?
Yep, you're good.
Okay. Here's Willie right here. Okay. There's no scheme involved in what he's doing here. There's nothing special. They're not drawing anything up. They're not scheming anything out. This is just Spags saying, go be an athlete on this play, make a play. That's what he does. On the backside, basically, there's a walk-up defensive end, essentially.
Yeah, they go to like an under defense, and he becomes the end man on the line of scrimmage. And if you watch it from this angle, you could see the hole open up, and it's a good thing that Willie Gay was there to run it down from the backside because that was open.
It was open indeed. But the thing with this kind of play, there's no thinking involved. I think the big thing we've all seen, and kind of the thing that a lot of people around the Chiefs and everyone said, the thing holding him back has been his mental capacity, has been basically his mental capability to learn the Chiefs defense, to learn some of the nuances of it. This is just Spags finding a way to get a tremendous athlete on the field and let him be able to go make a play. And as we see here, this is blocked up. This is not going to be good if he hits this gap here. But thankfully for the Chiefs, Willie Gay has some freak burst, and he was able to run that down before it got going. There's no scheme involved in this, though, at all. I mean, give credit to Spags for putting him in the position to play. Willie doesn't have to think about anything when he's out here on this. He just has to go, It's like they're letting the dog off the chain. We saw this a lot last year, just, I think, so they could get him on the field.
Yeah, I agree. When he plays his best when he can let his athleticism just take over.
And now he's the top linebacker there, and he makes a really good fill. lined in on this side. We'll get into the end zone. You guys can see that a little bit better here. Here he is. There's Amari Cobb. The Chiefs were having some linebacker issues this game.
Yeah, that's when Hitchens got hurt and then Neiman got hurt too, right?
Yep. And that's a great fill. So what we see here is he has the capability to play as a strong side linebacker and even a Mike linebacker. Because let's be honest, I mean, he isn't the biggest linebacker in the world, but he is physical and he's downhill. So he can do some of those things. He does the things Hitchens does well also. He's physical inside the box. And really, that's an easier place to play for a more athletic player than a lot of other places would be, especially with him just learning the defense, because his responsibility is only going to go from the A gap here to probably about the C gap here. This is all he has to read. And you see Mike Pennell and Mike Dana there. They're going to help him out a ton. They're both taking on double teams. Dana's squeezing down. This is going to be a really easy read for him here. And, I mean, they clear it up. They make it nice and easy for him to go use his athleticism to make a play.
Yeah, he does a nice job being patient too and not overreacting to anything, right? He sees that the play is developing towards him and he just fits the hole and makes the tackle.
Then he wraps up and slides down to the ankles to get him down. Gotta like it.
Getting the guy on the ground is always a good thing, especially do some missed tackles.
It's very important. I included this play in here because where did he come from on this play? Let's take a look.
And coming out of college, this was his thing, right? He was the best linebacker in coverage in college. But look at, I mean, dude, he's just so more like think about the play that we just watched with Damian Wilson, who tried to make this play and couldn't get there. And Willie Gay, just the considerable difference in distance that they're covering. Like it is wild.
You know what? What else does he do?
Forces a turnover.
That ball out. I think that was Calvin Ridley, wasn't it?
No, that's 15. That's I think that's the Zacchaeus guy.
Okay. But look where he starts. Almost this hash, sees it, running to the flat, running. I mean, that's night and day difference from what we've seen from the Chiefs linebackers in the past. That is night and day difference.
Yeah, that's athleticism. That's playing in space and closing distances, and that's what you like to see. You know,
that's the sideline to sideline speed right there that they're going to need. That's what they're relying on. And he comes in. He doesn't just come in. He's coming in to blow it up. He's coming in to finish it.
The other thing is, if you look at that play, this is just the split zone play action with the tight end coming across, right? And the thing is, he steps up like he's going to fill his run gap responsibility, but he recognizes pass pretty quickly. He doesn't get caught up in the wash. He gets his head out and he finds, his zone and then closes on the ball quickly.
So, takes a really good angle.
Yeah, that's what excites me about getting him on the field is just his athleticism and his ability to play in the pass.
Let's check his eyes here. He's checking. He sees it. Just comes in like a missile on that one.
Yeah. So he's going to be a playmaker. He just got to figure it out a little bit and get himself on the field.
I thought this play kind of flies under the radar, but he saves a pretty big rip. He saves a big rip on this play.
Yes, he does.
And I know it doesn't look like it much. It looks like the Raiders get about 5 or 6 on this play. He saves a rip coming over as the backside linebacker. I think we'll see it a little bit better here.
It's crazy too, because generally speaking, you want linebackers to climb over top of these linemen, right? Because they usually can't get to the play if they go underneath. And he's so athletic, he just rips underneath him and goes and makes the look at this. Whoop, see you later.
And you see this, but you see it starting to open up, right?
Oh, yeah, that's a huge.
Like you see, this is about to be giant because the Raiders do a great job of blocking this. The Chiefs are caught up in the wash back here, but you see the streak coming over, and he saves the play. And I think you can especially see it from this wide view. I'll pause it real quick when he sees it. But yeah, he comes underneath of Colton Miller here. But there's not a white jersey around. I mean, Sorensen's up here. That's the next closest guy. If he hits this hole, this could be a touchdown. And what ended up being a 1-point game or a couple-point game, Chiefs won by possession. But that closing speed is something I don't think I have ever seen a Kansas City Chiefs linebacker possess in my lifetime, at least. Not, I don't even think Derek Johnson had closing speed like that on a play.
No, Willie Gay is different athletic. That is for sure. Very different.
The big thing with him is if they can get him comfortable in this, they just have to be able to find a way to get him comfortable and find something he does. Because here's pass coverage. He lucks himself into a PBU here. I started it kind of late. I'll run it back so we can all see it right after this excellent tackle again. This is early on in the season. He basically still probably didn't know the playbook all that well, but he's able to luck himself into it just off of being a pure athlete. And you see he's running around. He disappears from the screen, but he's just alert enough to throw his hands up and be able to bat a pass down. You can't see it so well on the wide angle because of all the snow and everything, but he is alert enough to see it. And that's actually something that Ben Neiman's never been able to do. Ben Neiman is for the last couple of years, he's been a pretty consistent, he's a regular snap getter for the Chiefs. Not consistent in any way, shape, or form, but a regular snap getter, and he still hasn't been able to do that. And I think Willie Gay was able to do something like this twice in this game, just from reading the eyes and reacting to what he sees down the field.
I legitimately don't know if Ben Neiman has had more than 3 pass breakups his entire time playing in the nickel defense with Kansas City. It's got to be the hope that the Chiefs can get Gay on the field in these nickel situations, because plays like that, again, one, athleticism, he's just going to find guys and be able to make plays faster, right? You can't make plays you can't get to, and he can get to just about all of them. So you got to hope that he's a guy that maybe not at the beginning of the year, but by towards the end of the year, he's going to be a guy he finds himself on the field in passing situations.
They're going to be relying on him. I think I added this one in here because this wasn't a great rep here from Willie. I think he kind of hesitates. Yeah. It's not bad or anything. It's not terrible.
Hesitates a little bit. Yeah.
It's just something he can work on.
Yep.
And a little pick play.
And that's, again, he's young. He didn't have any offseason. This offseason for him is going to be massive, right? He didn't get a mini camp. He didn't get training camp last year. It was all COVID protocol stuff, and it was just way different. Now he's able to actually get these reps and get on the field and see this stuff. I mean, I would think it's going to be a tremendous help to him, especially.
Here's the clip we were just talking about. See him right here. Gets caught up in the pick game just a little bit. He should have probably just ripped right over. He kind of hesitates a second.
Yeah.
Still makes a really nice open field tackle.
It's actually a pretty good job by Ward there too, to squeeze down and give Gay the ability to go over top and make the play.
Because you see right here, he should be sprinting over here, and he's still kind of hesitating. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's still kind of hesitating just a little bit, a little unsure. I mean, once he sees the ball headed that way, he sure goes and reacts on it.
Sure. Yeah. Falcons running just a little stick concept there, and he hesitates, but
I love this play from him.
Yeah, and this is what I'm talking about with the
This is yep. And that's not against a schmuck either. I mean, Jared Cook's pretty good tight end there in New Orleans.
Yeah, if nothing else, Cook is extremely athletic. I mean, that's a hell of a coverage on a slot side end that can move.
Got him lined out wide, just a one-on-one. Comes back, is able to swat the ball, contest the catch, does his job on that play. That's what gets me fired up. I love seeing him run in and blow stuff up from, being an uncovered guy. We'll see it here in a second. I mean, I'll try to pause it. But, I mean, he's draped on him. I mean, there's nowhere to go.
Yeah, that's tremendous coverage right there. I mean,
Ellen out all over the ball. There's the ball right there. It's not getting.
Yeah, that's tremendous coverage. Yeah, and like you said, that gets you fired up. This is a passing league. You got to have linebackers who can play in space a little bit.
This is the flash that makes me think he's going to be something that the Chiefs could just really use to dominate the league. Because when you look at his game, he does a lot of things really well. He's just never been able to put it together, whether it be his career in Kansas City or his career at Mississippi State. You see the flash of everything. You see how good he can be against the run, even if they just had him as a traditional Mike. You see what he can do as a will linebacker in this situation. And he's also really good at blitzing. I don't think the Chiefs utilized him enough in the blitz game. this past season. So this is all going to be stuff that I think they're going to need to look at moving forward
Yeah,
with Willie.
I was going to say that if you've listened to the show from the beginning, we talked about this last year when they drafted him, right? The two best things that he does is blitz the quarterback and cover in space. And for the today's modern game and the way the passing is in today's game, I mean, he's just got to find a way to continue to get those reps and figure it out mentally. And like you said, it gets you excited to see those flashes to be able to cover, a very athletic tight end in the slot like that and make a play.
It's really crazy, but yeah, I mean, I think he's going to be a starter this year. I think that the Chiefs leaders probably are able to get him right. I think that they're able to figure out, what it is that's holding him back. I think Spags is going to be a good enough coach to figure out ways to get him in the game, get him more involved, help him out, simplify things for him if they need to. When you have an athlete like that, he's not just an explosive athlete, he's an athlete that can tackle and he's a physical football player. You got to find a way to get a guy like that on the field.
100%.
Chiefs fans have been clamoring for that. They've been clamoring for new linebackers for forever. So what does everyone do when the Chiefs go out and draft a new linebacker that beat up on the Chiefs because they did exactly what everyone's been wanting for a long time? Like, here's my take on it. You're not allowed to complain about Anthony Hitchens' contract or Ben Neiman if you're going to complain about them getting Nick Bolton. Because Nick Bolton's a good football player, and we're getting ready to get into this here in just a second. You see the video?
Yes, sir.
All right. This is some of the best linebacker film you're going to watch all season. So get ready to take some notes on this because this is.
You think they drafted Bolton to replace Hitchens eventually, right? At the mic?
I do, but I also think that there's things that Bolton does that I think he'll do better than Hitchens does. And I think that's going to include covering the pass. I know that's not real popular. I know a lot of people have said that, they don't think Bolton can cover the pass all that well. From what I've heard and people I know in the Mizzou football program, they think Nick Bolton's really good at pass coverage. They just think that you don't always see it when you're playing that Mike linebacker position in the SEC as much as you might some other times because they utilized him mostly in that middle role. They like to blitz him a lot, so you don't see him in coverage as much. But I think a lot of people are correlating like his very average pro day, very average combine testing numbers or whatever to this. But when you look at him on film, you don't see an average athlete by any stretch of the imagination. We can go ahead and start this bad boy off here. And that right there is a very Anthony Hitchens-like play.
His some of Bolton's best aspects is just his instincts. His instincts let him play faster maybe than he's going to test, right?
Right. You could see when we get to the end zone, you can see how fast he sees this open up.
Yeah, I mean, he diagnoses this, and he's at
beautiful angle.
He's coming from opposite side and meeting them at or behind the line of scrimmage, which is a great play.
And people saying he's not very fast. I just watched him run to the sideline and he ran down Najee Harris on an angle.
Yeah, from the opposite side of the field.
From the opposite side, well, he has very average testing numbers, so that can't possibly.
Yeah, it's one of those things that he definitely has more game speed than just getting on a track and just running.
And they said that his like 10-second split and his pro agility, the 3-cone pro agility. They said those are his best two things. So or not pro agility. I'm trying to think of what it is.
Yeah, the 3-cone drill. You talking?
The 3-cone drill, the 5-10-5 drill, and then like his 10-second split on the 40. Those were like his best things, and those all indicate like short movements, short burst movements, or short burst lateral movements, even if like his regular 40 wasn't that great.
Right.
This is a heck of a football play. If he doesn't get here, that all Najee Harris has to do is make one more guy miss. I like this play. He shows some of that physicality and toughness. He's fighting over a block to get here. Basically, he's getting to the edge. And he basically comes in, stops that play. He's fighting off that block at the very end.
Yeah, he's extremely physical on film too, and he's not the biggest guy, right? He's like what 5'11", 235.
Yeah.
So at 235, but man, he plays like a hammer. He is extremely physical when he comes up.
He shocks this guy in his steps, and then you see
okay, you don't really want your middle linebacker having to scoop all the way over across the field, having to get over these kinds of blocks like this. You'd like just to have your outside linebackers do their job and contain and force it back into him. But sometimes when you play on a bad football team like Mizzou is, sometimes you just have to make things happen. And number 9 is about to be totally embarrassed on this play. He has been hurdled. And now Nick Bolton says, well, I'm going to have to lay the hammer on you and shut you down. And he stuns him when he makes contact with him on that play.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a great finish, great physicality, great job running over the top of the blocks and fighting through it.
This is a play I was going to ask you, because I've seen people say, like, this is Nick Bolton's fault that the running back gets free. Not on this play. We'll go back to it here in a second. They run the motion, then they get the little wheel out of the backfield, and he kind of gets frozen. This is a clip I've seen where people are like, he needs to work on his instincts in the passing game. Where that could just be a really great play design by Alabama.
Yeah. I mean, this is you're getting a false pull from Alabama. So Bama's pulling left. So generally speaking, when a linebacker sees pull, they're thinking play going that way. You get a boot action with a motion. So everything's going that way, and then they decide to stop. Quarterback puts his feet in the ground, stops, and throws it to the running back. I mean, that's just a boot throwback to the running back. That's almost a trick play. That's a shot opportunity play that is well designed and well executed by Alabama, just underthrown by Mac Jones.
Dude, I've seen a lot of people, a lot of other analysts have clipped this play, and they've been using this as the play that says Nick Bolton can't play past you.
No.
While his team is running a power this way with emotion, I think that might be the Heisman Trophy winner right there. And then they've got a wheel route out of the backfield away from all of this, which no one from anywhere was able to detect. He's over here in the middle of the field doing his job. He's definitely keying the guard on this one. He has to be when he sees the puller, right?
Yeah, I would think so. And the thing is, if you look at it, he does take 2 or 3 steps with the stuff, but in my eyes, he actually reacts to that pretty decently.
And he's seeing the motion also. That's what I'm saying. People are like, this is a bad read from Hitchens. Or not Hitchens. See, I'm already doing it. But Bolton.
No, to me, if you're gonna talk to me about a bad pass defensive play, at least find a play that isn't like a designed throwback type play that is like a boot throwback craziness. Like, how many times have we watched Kansas City run Y leak, where they boot to the right and then Y leak and he's wide open, and that's in the NFL. Is just everybody in the NFL bad at coverage against these plays? I mean,
this is a bad play here from Bolton, but it does kind of show something I was wanting to show. And real quick, back to this one. That's just Alabama doing Alabama things. It should have been a touchdown, but I mean, I bet Nick Bolton wasn't getting ripped in the film room the next day over that.
That's great recognition. Just got to finish the play.
Oh, that was the guy that caught that football is Kadarius Toney. He's been known to be a little hard to tackle in the open field sometimes. That's actually was his best trait. But you see here, he's lined up showing blitz. Toney out here, lined up in the middle of the trips out here. Bolton recognizes it perfectly. He realizes they've got a screenplay on. Dude, he's got good recognition. He's got good burst to where he's going to go. And just hats off to Kadarius Toney on this play. He's hard to tackle. He's got a lot of juice. He's a first-round draft pick also. So.
Yeah. No, that's great recognition. Just misses the tackle. Got to just bring your feet with you and make the play.
And really, I mean, his presence, I mean, they don't even let him get loose. I mean, the defense, the help is coming at that point in the play. He's just got to be able to break down a touch more. Yeah. That's one of the more – and Toney was one of the more elusive players in college football.
And that's the thing, really. I mean, you think about what he did. He really recognized it so quickly and blew it up that it was a 1 yard to no yard gain. So.
And then we got just more great recognition here against the run game. We get here against Florida. He started to kind of go inside a little bit when he thought it might go.
Yeah, he's tracking the running back. Once he sees the running back start to bounce, he thinks and then peaks. Yeah, that's good patience, though. Good patience, doesn't get caught in the wash, makes a good tackle for a minimal gain.
Physical finish.
Oh, very physical.
Now, this one's a little more interesting because he finds himself back on Tony here, and there's a little bit of scramble action. He does kind of slow him down. Some people might say that it was kind of a hold on this play here. Let me see. I got to go back to that real quick. I don't think I got as much of that last one. But yeah, he's right here. He finds himself again. He's going to have to go over here and cover Tony. Not sure what Kyle Trask is doing here. He probably should have thrown it to him right here, but he kind of double clutches, gives Bolton just a second to come over and react, and now he's going to try to run. Tony's going to try to react here, and Bolton, he contacts him a little bit. That could be – if a ref wanted to get ticky-tack, he could call that there, but he does come over quick enough to cover it up and make Trask want to go the other direction. And, again, that is one of the more elusive players in college football this past season.
And I don't think that would get called because Trask starts to scramble out of the pocket at that point. So you're allowed to contact the receivers on the scramble. So it's actually a pretty smart play by him to collision him and redirect him. Now he can't, you got to be careful about hooking him. Make sure you're not grabbing him because then you can get called for hold, obviously. But to contact and collision and slow him down.
It's just great recognition to understand what's going on in the play.
Yep.
Not really doing too much on this play. I just like it because he recognizes what's going on quickly. They got that quick swing pass route coming out of the back. Kyle Trask is falling all over himself, not looking very good here with his superstar teammates. But
yeah, looks like he got 2 man under by the defense. Everybody's in man. Bolton's got the back. He does a nice job seeing him and running with him and being in a good position to make a play if the ball's thrown there.
That's what but see, how many times have we seen the Chiefs guys just struggle to do this?
Yes, it's not even a joke because
I'm being serious right now. I'm sitting here thinking this, watching this clip, and you guys are like, "Well, that's nothing special what he's doing right here." I'm like, how many times have we struggled? And I mean, struggled in the past year, just getting upset and watching teams like literally have no option because the pass rush is tearing them up, or have no real options because the second tired Matthews all over the place in the secondary. So like what the Buccaneers did in the Super Bowl, we're going to dunk down to this flat route here and they're going to get 15 because there's no one close to the area because no one's quick enough to recognize it. I mean, it can be a little bit frustrating. Like this play because he just mauled up on that running back. That's pretty much the only reason I added that in here.
Yeah, good physical rush, blows him up. I'd like to see him get his hands up there once he knocks him down, but still physical rush.
I've got a play. I got a play coming for you here in just a second. That time he does get his hands up and he forces a pick 6 here for his teammate. We'll see it better here in a little bit.
That looked like the almost the same type of play that Chris Jones and Bashaud Breeland made in the Super Bowl against San Francisco, right? Hit the arm, goes up in the air, get the pick.
You know what else this blitz this blitz also looks similar to the zero blitz the Chiefs will try to run sometimes. I'll run it back to check out what Bolton does.
That's a nice little stunt there. You can see that.
Really good stunt. They got 5 on the line of scrimmage plus 2 guys pretty close, creeping. And it's going to be a stunt here. He's going to come in here. And basically he's free. The guard is late. There's the hand in the face you were looking for.
Absolutely.
And he blows up Trask. His guy gets a clean interception.
And that's
He's coming back. And
it's Tyrann Mathieu or L'Jarius Sneed going to score right there.
Dude, watch him scare Trask on this play. Watch. Trask is coming in. He sees him, and he's just like, I'm out.
That's smart to not blow him up, though, because that's 100% a penalty.
Oh, yeah. And then Mizzou almost fumbles the ball getting in the end zone.
No.
Just get in there.
Yeah. No, that's a great rush, though. Love to see that. That's a sick play.
Dude, that's Kadarius Toney. That was the most elusive player in college football. That's the best player in college football in the open field.
That's seeing the
2020.
window. That's seeing the window, taking the window, and giving the offensive guy zero space to make any type of move, and you just put him on the ground.
I'm not seeing a bad athlete. I'm seeing a highly intelligent football player with explosion in his gameplay.
You can see the instincts. You can see the closing. He's aggressive. When he sees the play, he's aggressive, and he goes and makes the play.
Dude, look, Tony's breaking down because he thinks he's about – you can see the hole start to form. If Bolton doesn't get to this play, this is going to be a bad game.
Watch.
This
Oh,
because
yeah.
this guy's just going to keep running. He's going to get washed out of the play because he's going to keep it wide.
Well,
There's one person.
Rewind it to the beginning again. Look at Bolton right away before the snaps even happen. He's waving to his guys saying, move out. It's coming. Watch him. Look at he's saying, move out, move out. He says, I know it's coming. And he says, yep, here it goes.
That's just good recognition because I bet watching on the film, you see what they got they got their version of 12 personnel going here.
Yep.
And then he's going to see, because look, he's probably like, motion's coming.
Yep. Run the window, make the tackle. Easy money.
A tough play, because I guarantee you they probably weren't accounting for this guy as being the extra blocker plus all the reach blocking. They have enough guys just on the line of scrimmage to account for this, plus the extra man to probably take care of 9 at the end. There's only one player that can make this play without having it be a huge game. And Bolton sees it, and he just blows it right up.
That's a great play.
I got to watch that one more just to see it.
That's a really good play.
Excellent play. Good football player. I think I've got one more here from Bolton. Yep. I like this play a lot because he should probably be about to get beat, but he comes in and he affects the catch just enough on a broken play to be able to get his team off the field here. And I'll run it back again. You can take a look. It's going to be just another swing route, something very basic. Pocket breaks down, right? Kyle Trask is going to run, just try to do something, make a broken play work. The longer guys have to cover, especially linebackers, that is not advantageous for them at all because these guys have the advantage. He's already starting to work his way back in, sensing the rollout here from Trask. But you see the closing speed. He's starting to jump. The ball's about right here. He's getting ready. The presence of Bolton, he comes in and is able to be around the play. I don't know if he really gets a hand on the ball or does much. We can see well from this angle. But knowing how physical he is and how he was playing all this game, it's hard for me to believe that he wouldn't have been able to come in and contact the ball, at least make a play to get the ball out here. And you can see there's the ball right here. If this guy gets his hands on it, good for him. He's about to get smoked right now. Like this right here, this angle for Bolton, this is just a kill shot waiting to happen. He's got a running back. And mind you, middle linebackers you don't oftentimes see start in the middle of the play, run all the way to the sideline, and then sprint back the other way to cover a running back. Yeah, I think that play right there pretty much would dispel some of the notions that he's a bad athlete.
Yeah, he definitely affects the catch too. You can see him come down hard on the ball with his left arm there. And this play reminds me of the AFC Championship game. Josh Allen scrambles to his right, and he throws it back to TJ Yeldon, who makes that catch with Ben Neiman, who does not affect the catch point and lets him catch it. And it was like a 16, 17-yard, 18-yard gain. So to me, I mean, you could see the violence even with just the punch, trying to punch the ball out. That's a good physical play at the catch point. And like you said, that's a middle linebacker running from sideline back to the middle of the field on a running back, and he gets the ball out.
Let me get back to that wide view just so you guys can all take a look at it. He's starting at the hash. He's going to end on basically the sideline, running back, then gets physical. Yeah. Even if that guy caught the ball, don't sit here and tell me he was going to pull that one in on this one.
Yeah, that was a great job getting, like I said, getting that punch in at the last minute and making a play on the football. Those are the plays that make differences in football games too, you know? You think about that, if that's a third down or something and that guy's about to make the catch and you're able to punch the ball out, those are huge plays. That shows great instincts. You can see him eyeing the ball. He sees the ball. He makes the play.
It got his team off the field.
Yep.
Got his team off the field.
Those are big plays. Look at it. You can see it right there.
There's the ball. He's got it lined up perfectly. Like this guy, I have a hard time believing it, even if he holds on to it. Because look how he ends the play. Even if this guy catches this, he's getting smoked. Bolton is punching everything he can, and he's going to just put as much force as he can on that guy to end the play. Yeah. But it was the third down. Mizzou gets off the field. They live to see another day on that one, all because it was an excellent, excellent play there. And I'm gonna go ahead and stop the screen share because that's all the film I got for you tonight, buddy.
No, I loved it. I loved it. I loved watching little LB play. It gets me excited. I think that you look at those guys, Willie Gay, Nick Bolton. Those guys are your future, right? They're good. I think Willie Gay starts this year, like you mentioned. I think Bolton eventually gets on the field in some capacity, and then hopefully we see those guys that they're the two on the field in your nickel situations, your nickel downs, where it's Gay and Bolton. You see some of the athleticism. They can both rush the passer, and it brings a little more versatility and athleticism to the field, in my opinion.
The Chiefs defense, like I've been saying for a long time on this show, they're so very close to being one of the best in the NFL. I think Brett Veach needs credit right now because he has stockpiled young defensive talent across the board at multiple different positions. One of his first draft picks, when you look at him building the defense, was Derek Nott. That's a cornerstone nose tackle to any great defense you got to have. Then he goes out, Juan Thornhill, cornerstone safety. We're going to have to talk about him in a later episode in that safety unit because, man, if Juan Thornhill plays up to where he did his rookie season and towards how he did towards the down the line this past season, it's going to be night and day difference. And then now he's trying to address the linebacking core, and he's gone out. They've added this athletic specimen, Willie Gay, last year, the project. Nick Bolton's not a project at all by any stretch of the imagination. He's a plug-and-play player. Things will be interesting because Bolton is he's built to play Mike linebacker. Obviously, Hitchens is going to command a lot of attention, a lot of respect at that Mike linebacker position. And I know the big thing everyone was saying before the draft and why people were saying it's a bad pick is they're like, well, the Chiefs play a lot of 4-2. And I'm like, well, don't you think if they could, they would try to get their best 11 on the field no matter who it was? And you'll have a hard time convincing me that a defense with Hitchens, Willie Gay, and Nick Bolton at times can be better than some of the defenses we've seen the Chiefs play in the past, especially like some of the heavy nickel and dime packages with a lot of secondary players, because that's when other teams really just started taking advantage and kill them with their tight ends and running backs.
Absolutely, and I think that I can tell you what happened. What's happened is the future is already set next year at linebacker. They're not going to have to address that. Offensive line is set next year. They're not going to have to address that. Next year, they're going to worry about edge rushers and they're going to worry about wide receiver. And those are going to be the next two positions that they're going to continue to fill. So they're set up well for the future. I think I like the young pieces that they're at linebacker. I think they're going to be able to make some impact. I would expect that, Bolton to be on pretty much every special teams unit to start for sure. And then eventually getting on the field in situations throughout the year.
I'm hoping we could see them play a little bit more base defense just so we can see that 3 linebacker combination. Because really, I mean, with the way Bolton plays, you can plug him in as a strong side linebacker. He'll probably do just fine and keep Hitchens at the mic where he's more comfortable and then be able to have Willie play the will. I think all 3 of those guys, they each have their own characteristics. Those are going to be the guys. But there shouldn't be – is there any situation where you think we see any more Ben Niemann? Because last year we really had no answers to why Ben Niemann played. We probably still don't have any answers right now as to why he played. We told you very clearly we don't know why he was on the field in any capacity. We still don't know. But now we know if he's on the field in 2021, are there some issues at that point then with what they've done?
I don't know. All the reports coming out of camp early where it was Gay, it was Hitchens, and it was Niemann as the 3 linebackers when they were in their base defense. I think that's just him being the incumbent and getting the first crack at it and letting the rookies get up to speed with everything. That's why I said you might see Niemann early, but I think eventually it is going to be Nick Bolton and Willie Gay are going to be on the field more than Niemann. I would hope. So we will see.
We'll see it sooner than later.
Yeah, and if he continues to play, Ben Niemann does, then I have no idea. He's got dirt on the entire Kansas City organization or something.
I almost thought about including a couple of Ben Niemann plays in here, some really bad plays. He gave up that big run against the Broncos.
Yeah, dude.
One had like 60, and then when he let Josh Jacobs pretty much put his face mask through his chest and charged him into the end zone. Yeah. I decided not to put those in there. Everyone hates Ben Niemann enough already. We don't need this big. We hate aggravation.
we don't need this to be a big "we hate Neiman" show at this point, but you guys get the picture. The linebacker play has to be better this year. They've made the pieces to go out and get it. They still don't care about cornerback play at all. That's a completely different episode all entirely, though.
We'll get there eventually, but no, it was a good one. I think it was another fun show, another good film breakdown. But why don't you tell everybody what you're working on and where they can find you, and we'll get out of here.
All right, guys, you can find me as always on Twitter at CJ Scoobs. I've got an article coming out here pretty soon about 3 players who I think will fly under the radar, make the Chiefs roster out of the 53-man camp. Maybe a couple of surprises. I wrote an article here a couple of days ago that came out. It was the my 53-man roster prediction. It was one of the better articles I've had as far as views wise, which is funny because I didn't put any film into it. It's probably one of the quickest articles I've written. So that's how that goes. And for all of you guys sitting here asking me, where's D-Rob? Where's D-Rob on your 53-man roster? Are you guys watching the same football games I was this year? Because it seems like everyone hates Demarcus Robinson when they're playing football, but then all of a sudden you guys think he's automatically got a roster spot. But when you look at his contract, he's not even going to make $1 million this year without incentives. So to me, it would seem like they're ready to move on. They just have to have a fresh body or a familiar body in camp to get while they're getting people up to speed.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that sense. I just wrote an article today. It'll be out tomorrow morning about the expectations for this year's rookie class. So be on the lookout for that. Make sure, like I said, you're going over to YouTube. Check out all the other videos that we have. We have an O-line breakdown. We have Cornell Powell breakdown. We have another episode where me, Caleb, and CJ are just chatting it up, talking a little Chiefs football, which was a really fun episode to talk about. But like, subscribe, do all that stuff, guys. We really appreciate everybody being here. We love what we're doing. So all those likes and stuff, they go a long way to be able to keep doing that. So make sure you're doing that and spread the word. Spread the word around. Tell your friends, tell your family. Let them know what we're doing over here. But we appreciate everybody. And we'll talk to you next time.